Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. So I think I have a super cute project for us to play with today. This is the last week of school here in my province in Canada. And so I thought, and we have a lot of teachers in my family, so I know how much they love the little like treats that kids give them at the end of the year. But I also thought that we could maybe change this into like a graduation card too. So there, I created this little slimline card, but it was all inspired by this little box. So this is the little suitcase that is currently available. And I saw a reel on the Sarah Douglas CEO page, and it was them turning the little suitcase into a pencil. So, and then, right, you could give it as like a gift with like a gift card in it or something along that lines. So I thought, let's make a fun little coordinating card. And of course, you know, I recently played with alphas. So I thought that they would be fun to use for the card. Okay, so let me add this like crazy mess that I have in front of me into the camera view, and we can see if we need some more light or just what's going to happen here. Okay, so this is how I'll show you the flat version, I guess. This is how those little suitcases come, right? So they're called Suitcase Treat Box, and they're 165580, and they come flat, and there are 12 in here. And they were released with like the on-the-go suite of products. So this is them just plain, right? So you could ink distress them. You could cover them in paper. You could like partially cover them with paper, just add a belly band. But they open up like this. And then you could put a little treat inside. So it's kind of a really good size for a gift card. Let me see if I have one behind me. So they do fit, it does fit in like perfectly, right? So I might put like a little bit of like that basket fill or even a little piece of tissue paper kind of crumpled up inside. You know what? I think I also have. Okay, so let's open. My paper pumpkin just came. I was I was one in the group of the late paper pumpkins, but that's okay. It's still really pretty. So I'm still going to put them together, but there should be a piece of tissue in here. So I'm just going to pull out this piece of tissue, and I'll show you. Oh my goodness, of course. There we go. Okay. So, right, you could totally just add, let's see. I'm just trying to get it down to about the right size. Right, you could put a piece of tissue inside, add your gift card, or like all sorts of things would fit in there. And then you just close it up. Like so. And what a perfect gift, right? So like I said, I did create this one, which would be like a thank you card for a teacher. I also think this has huge potential to go on a scrapbooking layout. But so let's start by working on the box. So I think I have everything I need here. So I have a flat version of the box. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it on all the score lines. And you know what? This week I lost my bone folder somewhere. So we're going to open a new one. Hopefully I did not throw it away, which is totally possible. Okay, so I'm just going to fold everything on the score lines. Okay, and we're going to pop the center out there because we don't need that. This actually will eventually fold backwards. Just kind of hold the little suitcase handle, right, holds the box closed. I'll bring this back in camera view so you guys can actually see what we are working on here. This I will pop out also. Okay, so have I folded everywhere? I think so. Okay, so I'm going to actually, I'll take this tag off. So we're going to also use one of the dies from the On The Go collection to create our little tag. But I'm going to show you. Okay, because we're going to actually create it. Oh, no, I'm not going to open it up all the way because I've got my sides all folded in. Okay, so, but here we go. We are going to start. And I did use, which is not like me, liquid glue on this project. I just kind of wanted to show you, right? We're starting this way. You'll be able to see it flat in a second. I could actually just pop these out so you can see it flat. It'll all go back together. So, well, you'll see it flat in a second. Okay, so first piece I have is just a strip of Pretty in Pink, and we are going to glue it down. So I'm going to just grab my little silicone mat. And so this piece is 1/2 inch, and I cut it a little bit longer than I needed. And I'll just trim it off, right? So I actually have 2 of these. So we'll just put them side by side, and then I don't have to worry if I get stuff on glue on my glass mat, right? Okay. So I'm going to run it from one end to the other. Just making sure I have enough glue. I'll have to glue that little edge down in a second, but okay. So, because I know I don't have quite enough glue here. So, let's just add some glue here at the end. But as I went also, because it's a 3D project, I did fold all my pieces as I went. Okay. So then, this is silver foil paper. And I did not grab a piece that, I thought I had a piece that had, I did add adhesive sheet to some. And this one, I could actually add the glue on here on my box. So this is like the, you know, the silver thing on your eraser. on your pencil, like this part right here. And I love the fact that it just kind of looks like, you know, like a standard pencil. Okay, so then this is a piece of floral paper. But I'm going to show you how on the card, I didn't use this piece of paper. This is from the Floral Impressions, and it's this piece of paper right here. But on the actual card, I'm just going to use some cardstock. So you could totally just use Daffodil Delight if you wanted to. I think we will just use Seal to speed this part up. Okay, I'm going to trim all my edge off in a second. Okay, so now I have this little piece of crumb cake that we're going to run across here. So if school's finished for you, you could also think about this. Like I said, they make like a fun congratulations, but you could also do like a back to school thing too, right? So there you go. Make sure when you pop on to let us know if your school is over already for the year or if it's still going. Like I said, we're in like the last few days. So, and like I said, most of my family is all in the school system. Okay, so I am going to trim off from the back side. All these pieces. There we go. And we can just cut out this little notch here. I'm going to just do it on the back side. Okay, so we can pass the... Oh, let's not glue everything all together here, Chris. Okay, so this we're going to throw in the garbage. We don't need these pieces. This is kind of a nice and easy, right? Last minute thing too. Just like a few pieces of paper. Okay. So we have to make our pencil piece still. And what else do we, oh, we need to put our lines on. So I'm just going to fold my pencil. So on these two long pieces, I added black to make it look more like, you know, like the shadow from the edges of your pencil. So, the ruler and the new Stampin' Up! Pens, which I love. So, I'm just going to draw. I think I did these, yeah, 1 inch. And you'll see on the card, we're going to do it a different way. So can you think of other fun ways to decorate this little box? Fun things we could turn it into. Always worth a good challenge, right? I actually thought the suitcase would be fun to add even to just a scrapbooking layout. Okay, so here we go. Our box is actually finished, so we can assemble the box. A little bit extra here that I'm just going to trim off from the back side. There we go. And we still need to make our pencil lead. So, but here we go. Okay, so you fold in the 4 little short sides, and then these end pieces just basically like click in, and they hold the little suitcase together. Okay, so now you can add like your gift card, your chocolates, your gift, your soap, like anything you wanted. Okay, and these pieces just fold in like so. Okay, so now we just need our pencil piece. So I have, and then we'll do our little tag too. So this is the one we have that I did before. Right, so we need to make this piece. So again, I have a piece of crumb cake, and this is 3 by 1.5, and then we're going to overlap it the 1/2 inch, right, over where we have this little piece right there. So we can take our ruler, and we know that 1.5 is the middle. So this is our middle point, and then 1/2 inch. So now we just need to cut these pieces, right? So from our middle point to our 1/2 inch. Like that. And the same on this side. Okay, so you can erase your marks or just flip it over. I will do both. Okay, so then I have a little piece of basic gray, and this is 1/2 inch. And that's how I just made the little lead for my pencil. So again, with the mats. So this is more glue than I need. Okay, so I'm just going to add it on my triangle piece. I'm just going to give it a second to dry. Okay, so then we need, while this dries, we'll do our little tag. So like I said, this is one of the tags from the Tags to Go die set, right? So it's this one right here, and I just cut it in white willow. And then I have the School Days stamp set, and I wanted my apple to be 2 colors, so I'm going to stamp it in Granny Apple Green, and I already stamped it in Real Red and trimmed it out. Right, so that's this one. But on my tag, I will stamp it in Granny Apple Green. You could also just stamp it with your Stamp and Write markers, right? Like just stamp it, color it. Okay. And then the thank you is also from that school days. And I did basic gray. Just like that. Okay, and like I said, I already stamped the red one and cut it out. So now I'm just like paper piecing it, right? Which is one of my literally favorite things to do. So you had to know I was going to do it that way. So now I can just lay my real red apple over top. And it's 2 colors. Okay. So then I'll take the top of my pencil and trim it from the back. There we go. Okay. You can actually save this piece because I'll use it on the card. Okay, so then I think that one's my old one. This is my new one, right? So we're just going to adhere it now over that crumb cake strip that's on my box. There we go. It'll just take a second to dry. And then I grabbed the gray twine from the Baker's Twine Essential Pack. You could also, if you wanted a Granny Smith apple instead, you could also, right, stamp your stem just in like pecan pie and cut out the Granny Apple green apple. There we go. Okay, so that's the one from before. I'll tie it back up after. Okay, so now to make the card that matches, so I wanted my black to look like chalkboard, right? Like, so I'm just going to move this out of the way so it doesn't get splattered up there. So I grabbed the white pigment ink that comes with like its own ink pad. And so I created with the Party Alphas our title. So, right, like I said, this one says thanks. I think today we'll do cheers, right? So you could give this one to a graduate, but I do have another version of thanks. So, and we're going to actually like do the splattering. But I did one because I just wanted it to dry before we added cheers to the front because it's the same number of letters. So here we go. Okay. So I have a little piece of basic black cardstock. I have just a piece of cardboard so that I don't have to clean up my glass mat in the middle. So I just have a block here. And like I said, the white pigment ink. And you really don't need very much. Okay, so literally a drop is good enough. I'm just going to spray it with some water. And you don't need also a ton of that either. We should put the X-Acto knife out of the way. Okay, you can decide how much water, like how opaque you want your dots to be. So it's just as simple as that. You could also, if you want to add different colors of re-inker and have like tons of fun with your splatter, right, by using the white as your base and then using other colors. So I just let that dry, and because it is the pigment ink, it does take a little bit longer to dry, but not crazy long, but that's why I did that beforehand. So then you just cut out whatever you want your card to say, right? And considering we're on the alpha bandwagon at the moment, I wanted to make a slimline card here. So here are my pieces, and I have all my measurements here. Like I said, we originally did thanks, but I think we're going to do cheers today. Okay. So we have a piece for the lead of our pencil. We have the end of the pencil. And this one is 1 1/4 by 2 3/4. Our eraser on this one is going to be 3/4 of an inch by 2 3/4, because I'm actually going to create it on like a base, and the base is 2 3/4 by 7 3/4. We have our little metal, which is 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and then this is what I'm going to show you, because I didn't want to use more decorative paper, but I wanted to kind of get the same look. So I've cut some Daffodil Delight that's 1/2 inch by 5 1/2. So we're going to use that in 1 second. But then my other layers are, I have a slimline card base, right? Okay. So we have our slimline card base. Then I added crumb cake, and this is 3 1/2 by 8 1/2. So I'm covering the full card front. Okay, and then I wanted a real red layer. So this is 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. Okay, so just that nice little skinny border. So then, like I said, I wanted a base to actually create the pencil on. But we're going to do with these little pieces of the Daffodil Delight that were 1/2 inch by 5 1/2. I'm just going to take my basic gray. And so I wanted to give them the same illusion as that black line. So I'm just, this is basic gray, and I'm just running the edge of the cardstock, and that is enough. You don't really need to like ink distress the edge, right? You could use any color. You'll see once they line up beside each other that it gives you that same look. Okay, so I just wanted to do this first so that it gives it a second to dry. I actually think I have more than I need. My last one I'll need to cut off, and then I'll just add the edge to the piece that I've cut off. Okay. So I do have my piece of Pretty in Pink, and I did add a little bit of ink blending to this piece. I'm just looking for a scrap piece of paper so that I don't have to leave my glass mat in the middle. Okay, so I just wanted to add a little more depth to the edges. So that the cardstock just wasn't like one-dimensional. So it's subtle, but I can totally see it here. Okay, so now the first thing I'll do is add this piece. So we're basically building the pencil. Okay, so then, oh, my metal piece. And I did add adhesive sheet to this one. I know. And I just played around with the measurements until I got something that I was happy with. There we go. Okay, so then now when you add these side by side, they create kind of their own shadow, right? So it looks like the same thing that we got by adding the lines to the decorative paper. Oh, the last day is today. Well, that's bad timing on my part, isn't it? It's so funny. Like everywhere is just like slightly different. But like I said, it could also be like a welcome back to school. Okay, so now I'm going to just trim this off from the back. And then I still want my gray edge, right? So, and like I said, I still think this could totally be used on a scrapbooking page. Okay, so I did exactly the same thing with this piece, but I'm just giving myself a little cheater template, but I measured it exactly the same way, right? Found the center. And then in from each side. We're going to actually trim this white off, but I just wanted it long enough so that I had the base kind of underneath the whole thing. Okay. So now I can add my basic gray. Okay, I'm just going to give this a second. Oh, I like the trimmer. Totally. Okay. So there we go. So now we have our piece to go on our card front. I have 0 complaints about the trimmer. Okay, so then you can see now my pencil will go on my card front, and then all I have to do is add my letters in with a little bit, a few dimensionals. So I'm just going to center this. Okay, so we don't need these letters because we did that one already. Here are my dimensionals. I just had to get down to them. They got buried way down there at the bottom. Okay, so now, because I know I want to overlap them, I'm going to kind of keep my dimensionals into the middle of the letters. And then if I need to, I can add more after. So look at this, a brand new single dimensional. So I'll just crack them. Okay, and I'm going to lay them down first because like I said, I already do know they'll overlap. Oops. Because remember, they are called party alphas, so we need to make it look like a party on our card. So I actually think I could use smaller pieces. Oh, here's one that's already started. Let's have 8 different sheets of dimensional started. Yeah, I thought we're not going to need this one. Because in certain spots too where they overlap, I will just glue them together if I need more. There we go. So now I'll just pull off the backs. And we're all good to go. So on the inside of this card, I'd probably use like the congratulations. You could also do it right in like all the primary colors for school, the letters. That would be cute. But also just one more word that you know fits on a card with alphas. Because I know everybody realizes that they're great for scrapbooking layouts, but you can totally use them on cards. Okay, so now I would check if I need any more dimensionals. And so I think I'm going to add one right here. Actually, it doesn't even need to be a full one. Just doing like the dip test, right? To see where my letters are dipping. That's funny. I managed to take the back layer off even. Oh, black dimensionals would have been really good. Smart idea for this project too. Oh well. Okay, so actually just right there. Just a little. See, I don't even think that I have my black ones out on my desk. That's probably why I didn't even think about it. That would have been perfect for this project. Well, when we add it to scrapbooking layout, I'll remember to use my black dimensionals. I actually thought I did have them in my tray beside me, but obviously not. Okay, and then just right here on the very corner. So I actually might just use this corner dimensional. There we go. So I think that's super cute. So there we go. I'll bring in the second. I'll have to tie it back up. But our second suitcase. So I have more than 2 people in my family in the education system. So maybe I will have to give them treats. But I might have to make more if somebody sees me giving one person something, you know. Just like a sweet little gift card, or like I said, chocolates would fit in there, soap, all sorts of fun things. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this version of the suitcase and the matching card. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll come back. Ask them in the comments, and I'll come back and answer them as soon as possible. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.